We are recording, so
Fuck Jose Mourinho. I'm joking. Right. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the preview for the game against Fenerbahce in the Europa League at the Sukru Sarakoglu Stadium. 8 o'clock kickoff, and that was a tongue twister. Are we more confident after that Brentford win, Sam? Any more confident at all?
no, not really, because United have done this before. We've played well and then absolutely shit the bed the following week. So until we've done a run of like say 3-4 games, I'll start feeling a bit more confident.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on it in the news show this afternoon. Make sure you guys check that out if you did miss that. But we spoken about the attackers in depth. Will we need to outscore Fenerbahce here, do you think? Because the nature of how we are defensively in Europe.
Yeah, that could be an issue. Fenerbahce are not biggest goal scorers, are they? Though, to be honest with you, like it's a Jose Mourinho side.
I might surprise you.
I know. I know Fred has scored a hat trick recently. I know that happened.
Yeah.
Pragmatically, I think he sets up he's defensive first, but I'm sure you'll prove me wrong in a minute with like goals and stuff like that. But
well, let's be honest, you don't watch Fenerbahce week, none of us watch Fenerbahce week in week out, do we? So we don't really know specifically. But the typical what you would associate with Jose is what you're saying.
I think if we could get 2-3 goals, we need to hold on to that. We have to. We cannot continue this. Yeah, we cannot continue this trend of like going 2-3 goals up and throwing away a lead. Can't keep doing that, because if we keep doing that, it's just going to affect confidence every time we go into a game and we score. So we need to set a marker out now and just be like 2 goals to the good and then shut up shop, or 3 goals to the good, just shut up shop. Do not allow anything through. Keep the clean sheet, and that'll be a building block for the next one.
The FC20 in Porto games, what went wrong?
20 game, the mistake from Eriksen. That was a pivotal factor. Not taking our chances is another one as well. Like, we just don't continually create chances that we don't take. There was a couple of chances in both games where we should have killed the game off. And then mistakes is in the Porto game as well. There was like a couple, and that Omar Dion was just bullying our defensive line. He was just running it ragged. So keep your eye, not mistakes, and taking your chances. If you do those 2 things, you'll win the game. But the problem is, because we don't take our chances, the smallest mistakes then cost us big time because we haven't scored. And it's a hand-in-hand sort of thing. So if we can do either one and do them both together, I think we'll be all right. But whether United can do that, I don't know.
You can see why Chelsea wanted that Sammy Meridian, didn't it? Because the way it reminded me of Drogba a little bit. The way he was bullying the centre backs aerially is fantastic. Relatively quick as well. His positional sense, I think, for the second goal with the cutback, yeah, it was decent. But United in Europe at the moment just seem to I don't know what it is. It seems to just Ten Hag struggles a bit, and I think we're a little bit naive. And I think if you're not careful, you could get caught out again against a very experienced Jose Mourinho, who's obviously won multiple Champions Leagues. The interesting thing going into this, Sam, is no Bruno Fernandes because of the red card against Porto.
No Casemiro.
What are the options, the potential options at least, that we could play there, do you think?
I think the one we've all wanted to do is Xerxes, isn't it? That's the one we want to see. Xerxes in the 10 behind Højlund. I think that could work really well. I don't think Ten Hag does it, in my personal opinion.
Might say that.
The other options are you put Eriksen in the 10. He's very capable of doing that. Does that for Denmark quite well. So that's the other option. And then your other option is Ahmad, because Ahmad has played the 10 before.
Mount, maybe.
Is he fit?
Well, he was back, but they said I think the Brentford game was too soon. But then to play him 90 minutes, would Ten Hag do that?
Yeah. So I just write Mount off because I just don't.
Yeah.
He's just never available. So I think the 3 options: Eriksen, Xerxes, Ahmad. There'd be 3 that I would put in that position. Eriksen plays no matter what, whether that's the 8 or the 10. I think he plays no matter what. But yeah. I think they'd be the 3 I would go for.
And what would be your specific one, or do you want to save that for you?
I'll save it for my 11.
Okay. Well, we'll stick with the kind of the makeup of the midfield, because we do have returning midfielders, even though we're travelling to Turkey, in Fred and Amrabat. Sam, bound to have a good game, aren't they?
Yeah, Fred's going to score a worldie. I'll call it now. Volley from outside the box or an overhead kick or something like that. I can see it. Like it's definitely going to happen. and I'm sure Amrabat will be up for it. He was wanting to return to United. I think he would have been a good squad depth option as well, but he'll want to play well against us, and I'm sure he'll have a good time playing against us, as will Fred. So yeah, it's always when former United players come to town, you're always like dreading that they're going to haunt you, aren't they, or do something. And a lot of the time it does happen. So let's hopefully they have a quiet game for our sake.
Do you think so? When a team's played, like when Amrabat and Fred has played in this 10 setup, do you ever think? I know Jose is extremely experienced and his tactical knowledge is fantastic. But do you ever think they lean on those players slightly a little bit for any kind of little tips or advice?
I mean, I definitely would. If I was a
Yeah, why
coach,
not?
like, I'd take every advantage, every little nugget of information I can get my hands on. I would do it, even if it's not that useful or not that tactile. Take it because it might pay off in some aspect or some things. Fred was at United for a very long time. I'm sure he knows the club inside and out. There's players there that he's played with. I'm sure he knows their games very, very well. So he could definitely provide some tactical information. Amrabat would be really good because obviously he worked with Ten Hag specifically, and especially in those last 4 or 5 games where we set up a bit more pragmatically, he can provide a bit of an insight into there. So yeah, if I was Jose, I'd use every trick in the book to get some information on it. And I'm sure he is. Like, I'm sure he's not a guy to leave any stone unturned. I'm sure he will look at every other aspect to try and get a tactical advantage.
What do you make of the time at United? Amrabat, obviously a lot shorter stay than Fred. Fred was there, like you said, for quite a while. How would you rate their time at Old Trafford?
Fred is Mr. 50-50, isn't he? That is who he is. He was. It was even game to game, like half to half. He'd have like amazing period where you're like, oh my god, this player is fantastic, and then he'd just absolutely shit the bed and give the ball away and just completely like tear us around. I think one of our most famous clips is me describing as a bipolar mental patient living at your house. You don't know whether you're coming home to a fantastic 5-star meal or he's burned the kitchen to the ground. Like, that's just
consistency again, isn't it? Kind of the theme of United.
And he seemed well liked. He seemed like a good guy. He seemed really sort of like got United and enjoyed playing for us. But yeah, just consistency was an issue. Amrabat, I think we wrote him off, didn't we? At the beginning, he came in and he was all right, playing at left back, admittedly. He looked okay. And then he had a couple of games where he stunk the joint up and you were like, maybe this is not the guy. And in the last 4 games, he's suddenly come into his own. We started this new style, more pragmatic setup, and he was fantastic. He was called Prime Gattuso by Scholes in the FA Cup final, was integral to us winning that trophy. And I think he was fantastic those sort of games. And I think if we would have kept hold of him and played him in that similar role for certain games where you need to do that, I thought it would have been a great selection for us. He wouldn't have cost that much money, and he knew the club, so I don't understand why we didn't try and keep him. But yeah, we did.
This very game now, you look at it, you think something like Amrabat away in Europe, tough fixture. You know, you could play him in that, but obviously Ineos didn't rate him for whatever reason and didn't go with it, which is interesting. But I did like Fred in certain games. Like you said, though, it was just he was such a likable guy. You knew he would always give everything. But some of the mistakes that he'd make, some of the stinkers that he'd put in, they weren't worth keeping hold of. And I know there was a lot of people who said after he left, you know, look at the energy in the midfield. We probably could have done with him. But yeah, I think he had his time to prove, and it was kind of like
the whole thing with the McFred pivot was Scott McTominay has like one side of the game and Fred had the other side of the game because we were playing 2 players where we should have been just playing one because they both had different halves, but they had 2 deficiencies to try and cover it for each other. And it's like, you Man United, you can't be doing that. Like, you need to have one good player who's very good at it. You can't be doing 2 players to do that job.
I'm still searching for that player at the moment. Right, let's dive into some stats then in relation to United and Fenerbahce. So Fenerbahce have alternated between a loss and a win across their 6 previous meetings with United, most recently winning 2-1 at home in 2016-17 Europa League group stage. United have lost both of their last 2 trips to face Fenerbahce in all competitions, losing 3-0 in December 2004 as well. And Fenerbahce are unbeaten in their last 7 home games in the Europa League, winning 4 of their last 5. So, head-to-head wise, not a great record. But in Europe, they drew against FC Twente, much like we did. They just beat USG, literally by an own goal, and there was 2 red cards in that game. We know what Jose's like in Europe, Sam. Are we expected to part the bus and frustrate?
I think there'll be an element of that. I'll definitely think it'll be very hard to break down, very tough to sort of try and find our way into this game. But don't be surprised if he scores on you, because he's got a habit of doing that. He's got habits of like countering and snatching a goal. He did it with Chelsea quite a lot, like when they had that stingy defense. Was it 15 goals? He
Yeah.
did it at United. Like he won his Europa Cup final with a similar tactic, 1-0. So I think that's who he is, and I don't think he'll change. So yeah, you can't be totally like just, oh, we're gonna have all the ball and we're just gonna push him into the thing, because he will try and snatch a goal. He will try and snatch a win from you, and you've got to be careful of that in the transition. And wherever we've been the worst on the transition through our midfield, that's where we've been caught out. Porto did it continuously against us. The mistake from Ericsson left FC20 to do it to us. Spurs did it to us. It's an issue for us. So yeah, I wouldn't be totally being like, oh yeah, it's going to be part of us and we got frustrating night. I think they are capable of snatching a win from us.
Had Jose had the right structure or an Ineos above him? I don't know if I asked this question before. Do you think he would have succeeded at United?
Yeah, because he always wins. He always wins a title, doesn't he? At some point, if he's backed, and he was backed the first one, and then the second one he wasn't backed, was he? He got
Dallo,
Lee Grant, Dallo,
yeah, Lindelof, maybe it might have been.
maybe, and he was demanding a midfielder. I believe. I think he wanted like a midfielder, and I think he wanted something else.
Centre back as well.
So I think, yeah, if you backed him, you probably would have won as a title, because he finished second the season before. I think if you backed him fully, he probably would have won as a title, if not got really close to it. And obviously we didn't. Then he had a falling out and he kicked off. And then he, as a matter of protest to show that he wanted a centre back, he played Scott McTominay there, didn't he? And was basically like, I need a centre back. And he was kicking off in preseason as well. I remember he was like making complaints in preseason as well. So yeah, I just think
a lot of his. Go on.
I just think, yeah, there's been issues, and he said previously, aren't there, there's players still there that he wanted to get rid of. So that still could be potentially an issue for why our mentality isn't great, because there's still players there from when he was there that he knows aren't up to it.
Yeah, but we have to balance it a little bit. I think, they are fourth in the Turkish league at the minute, which should tell you a lot as well. But also they're above us in the Europa League, because I think obviously they've got a win and a loss. We've got 2 draws, so we'll leapfrog them if we beat them, which is, I know, it's embarrassing anyway. But like we've touched on many times before, Ten Hag needs to improve on this European record, because it is really bad. I mean, our only win was against Copenhagen at Old Trafford, where we had to save a penalty in the last minute, I think it was, and score in the last minute as well.
It was Harry Maguire and Onana saving our hides, basically, wasn't it? Which,
but is that not surprising? Like, because he reached the semi-finals with Ajax, and don't forget, like, famous went out in the last minute against Tottenham. Otherwise, he would have been in the final.
And they whooped Real Madrid as well. Like, they made Real Madrid look like shit.
So why is that you able to do that with an Ajax team, where you could argue, this United team, the quality-wise, it's not too far away, is it? Like, it baffles me.
Must be mentality. Like we've said this many times on the show. But I go back to the Benny McCarthy interview saying, in training they look amazing and these players look up for it and ready, and it comes to match day and they're like, oh my god, what's happened? What is going on here? And they don't understand it. So there's clearly a disconnect between training and then getting to games, and it seems super evident in Europe. But I don't know if it's because it's a bigger stage, because it's an unfamiliar country, different teams you've not played before. I don't know what it is, but it just seems to be a disconnect. And we seem to look good in the opening periods, because we'll go up and we'll score and we'll look decent, like we did it against Copenhagen, did it against Galatasaray, we did it against Bayern Munich, did it against FC20, did it against Porto, and then we just go, we concede, or there's a mistake, or there's something, and then our heads go down and we just chuck the game away. Continue. How many goals is 2-goal leads? We've given it away like 4 times, I believe. It's just unacceptable, and it's got to be a mentality thing, because like you said, the quality's there, the players are good enough. Mentally, we're just weak, I think. I just don't think we have any resiliency in this team.
I know after games you usually get kind of like an outburst of stats, don't you? Especially when United lose a game. But I don't think I've seen as much as a flurry as I did after the Porto game in terms of the European record that was coming out, like how many games lost, how many goals conceded. Yeah. It's been really, really bad. So yeah, I'm sure he'll want to put that right on Thursday night. Who would have wants to watch for you, Sam, in this game? So one player from Fenerbahce, is just anyone affiliated with United, basically.
Yeah.
And then who for Man United? Yeah, who for United?
Yeah, you got to look at. I would keep my eye on Fred because I think he's going to want to do something against us, and he probably will. I'd keep your eye on that. For United, I think that forward line from Brentford looks interesting. So I think keep your eye on Rasmus Højlund. He likes a goal in Europe. He's scored against Porto. He scored again at the weekend. He had that run in the Champions League, didn't he? It was like 5 goals or something like that. I think he's a guy I think he'll perform well. And if we could keep that forward line functioning the way it was at the weekend, I think he could do well here and get a goal or two. So that'd be really interesting. Yeah, keep Rasmus Højlund would be the one for me.
This is very interesting. I did not know this. So I was just looking at the top goal scorers currently. Dusan Tadic is the top goal scorer.
For Fenerbahce?
Yeah.
Okay.
Edin Dzeko joint second as well. Fred with the 3 goals that he scored, that hat trick that we all remember. And they've got Saint Maximum as well.
Oh, is he there? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did he go to Saudi? I thought he was.
Yeah, and then he must have moved to Fenerbahce as well. But he's the one who, against Dallo, who's going to be playing at right back. Something we're not even considered.
We're not got Wan-Bissaka. We're not got Wan-Bissaka, have we?
No, we haven't got a right back, let alone Wan-Bissaka. So that's definitely something, a jack in the box who he could be a fucking nightmare to deal with.
I didn't realise St. Maximum was there, so yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's something I'd put in one to watch. And for United, I'd have to go with Rasmus. I look again against Galatasaray last season. He was really, really good in the Champions League. He was decent. He's just started scoring now. I think Rasmus is definitely one. He does play.
He does have runs as well. That's how he scores, doesn't he? Like he scores one and then goes on a run of stuff. So hopefully that goal at Brentford is like a start of like a run of goals.
Yeah. Right. Let's do some quick fire questions then, and I'll get involved in this. Will there be more than 2 goals in total?
Yes.
I want to go no. Will Jose use a war of words at all? Do you think you'll get any kind of sound bites from him at all?
Potentially. Yeah, potentially.
If you could take Fred back for this season alone, would you do it?
No.
I agree. Favorite Jose team?
Has to be the Chelsea one, doesn't it? Won the title, the 15 points with that defensive.
That surprised me. I thought you would have gone for Inter.
Nah, Inter's a great team as well. Fantastic team.
Yeah.
But that Chelsea one, there was something like that was the one that broke up the monopoly, wasn't it, in the Premier League? Yeah. It started to sort of like break that United Arsenal stranglehold on it and sort of thing. And Carvalho and Terry and Ashley Cole, all that sort of stuff. I think, fantastic team that.
Yeah. Team full of dickheads, but it was a really good team.
Wankers, every single lot of them, but good team.
Yeah, I love the treble winning team. I think Etu, Milito, Maicon, all these very good team. Very good team. Very, very good team. But that was like talking 14 years ago now. Yeah. That team. Crazy. Yeah. Prediction for man of the match.
Christian Eriksen. I think he'll be pivotal in this game if he's going to play. I think he'll be a really, really key player, and hopefully he continues on the form that he's been playing recently and been key to sort of scoring goals and stuff. So yeah, I think he'll be man of the match.
I'll stick with Højlund because he's the one to watch. Yeah, Rasmus. But it's 11s. Who's going first?
Let me look. You first. Go.
Right. Onana in net because Bayern will never get a sniff. Nope. Dalot, De Ligt, Evans, Lissandro. I think he goes with the same back 4 as the one against Brentford for some consistency. In the midfield, obviously Casemiro we think is injured and Bruno is unavailable to play. So I've gone Ugarte, Eriksen and Xerxes as a surprise 10. I mean, that's the wild card shout from me. And then, again, same front 3. Rashford, Højlund, Garnacho, because that's our best on form at the moment.
Yeah. I've got almost the same team. Pretty much like team for team. But I've put Ahmad in that 10 just because I don't think he's going to do Xerxes there. I don't see it.
Do you think he'll go with Ahmad, though? He doesn't seem to want to play players that position at all, does he?
But Ahmad has played the 10 before. Like, he has done that before. And I think you've got no one else really to play that 8, whereas he's played Eriksen in that 8 quite a lot, hasn't he? Like, he's done that quite often. So I could see that happening again. I don't see him chucking Collier or Jack Fletcher or anybody into it. Like, it would be other midfield options. So it was between
No one else, is there?
No, it was between Xerxes and Ahmed, and I just don't see him doing it with Xerxes. And I know Ahmed has played there before, so that's kind of what the thinking behind that. But yeah, same front three as well.
Yeah, could it be maybe? I mean, would be a massive game to chuck him in experience, but Collier, Ericsson, Ugarte, maybe.
Possible.
Maybe.
Stranger things have happened. Like, he played him at left back, didn't he? Collier, like in the Carabao Cup. So stranger things have happened.
Interesting. Or maybe Casemiro, might be. Yeah. I don't know how bad the injury is. We've not heard anything on it. So yeah, we'll keep an eye out for that.
The press conference is tomorrow, isn't it? So we'll probably find out more who's available, who's not. So
cool. Right, score prediction, Sam.
I really don't know. You know, I really don't know.
I've gone 1-1.
I want to say 1-1.
But you did say in the quick fire more than 2 goals.
Yeah. I'll go 2-1 United.
Hey, bit of positivity. That's what we like.
I have nothing to base that on.
Especially in Europe.
It's just me wanting it into existence. Like, just please win. Just a win, please.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you to everyone who's been currently watching. Like I said, if you did miss our afternoon news show, we spoke about Lenny Yoro, spoke about the coaches, spoke about Rasmus Højlund, and all the latest news surrounding Manchester United. So do go and check that out. Let us know your thoughts on the game, starting 11s, score predictions, Jose Mourinho, any opinions you have whatsoever. Leave them in the comments section and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching. This has been the preview for the game against Fenerbahce away in the Europa League.
Peace.